Imagine a Sunday in September. It's one of those days that, it feels deceptively perfect.
Oh yeah, that kind of day.
The air has that crisp edge to it. The leaves are just starting to turn that rusty gold. And the light is that specific sharp quality you only get in the fall.
Hmm.
You're walking through Lynn Forest near Loch Bonna. It feels safe. It feels routine. It's the kind of setting where you expect to see families hiking, maybe someone throwing a stick for a dog.
Yeah.
You absolutely do not expect to stumble upon a nightmare.
But that's so often how these things start, isn't it? The juxtaposition of the mundane and the horrific.
Exactly.
We have this idea of crime scenes as like dark, stormy midnight alleys in the city. But tragedy is just as likely to strike under a bright blue sky, surrounded by the smell of pine needles and damp earth.
You're so right. And today we are doing a forensic and psychological reconstruction of exactly that kind of day. We are doing a deep dive into the Jonas August case and the subsequent terrifying disappearance of Edwin Oslid.
And this isn't just a story about a crime. It's really a portrait of a small community, Hughesby, that starts to come apart at the seams because of an unseen predator.
And the source material we have is, well, it's incredible. We aren't just looking at headlines or the final court verdict.
No, not at all. We are working from a stack of just incredibly detailed case files, internal police logs from the lead investigators, Konrad Sejer and Jacob Scar, and witness statements that capture the tiniest microexpressions.
And the psychological profiles. Deep profiles of everyone involved, from the victims to the witnesses to the offender himself.
It's a goldmine for this kind of analysis.
So we have a mission today. We want to understand not just who committed these crimes, though we will definitely get there, but the complex psychology of the witnesses who found the body, the heavy philosophical burden carried by the investigators, and the specific heartbreaking vulnerabilities that made these children target.
We're really analyzing the ripple effect of a crime on a whole community.
The ripple effect, I like that.
It's all about peeling back the layers. You have the crime itself, which is sort of the stone thrown into the water.
Right.
But then you have the ripples, how it changes a marriage, how it breaks a mother, how it alters the way a teacher looks at his students. I mean, that's where the real story lies.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start right at the beginning with the discovery. We're in Lynn Forest. It's Sunday afternoon.
And here come Reinhardt and Kristine Ris.
On the surface, they're just a normal couple out for their weekly walk. But if you look closer at the file, the dynamic is, well, it's incredibly tense.
Tense is, putting it mildly.
Yeah.
The files describe a relationship that has really just curdled over time. Reinhardt is the dominant force here.
In every way.
He walks ahead of her.
Yeah.
Physically, he creates distance. He's tall, self-assured, fit. He's the kind of guy who takes up space, in a room and on a path.
And he's a gamer. He plays computer games, specifically EverQuest, and gets totally lost in these fantasy worlds of wizards and dragons shouting at the screen.
Completely checking out of their shared reality.
And then you have Kristine. The files describe her as petite, submissive, almost trotting to keep up with him.
And she feels like a light has been extinguished in their marriage. That is such a heavy phrase. It says so much.
It really does. She wants a child, but he doesn't. She's observant of the world around her. He's just consuming it or ignoring it for his game.
And they're walking to Lake Lind, just like they do every single Sunday after lunch. It's a habit. And habits are what hold them together, because the affection clearly isn't doing the heavy lifting anymore.
That routine is crucial because it puts them in the exact right place at the exact wrong time.
Right. They're approaching a barrier in the woods, a spot where cars aren't supposed to go, and this is where the timeline just tightens. Before they even find anything, they have an encounter that dictates the entire flow of the investigation.
They pass a car, a white car. Reinhardt, who thinks he knows everything about everything, he glances at it and thinks it's a Ford Granada.
He categorizes it and moves on.
But Kristine, who he usually dismisses, notices the driver. And she makes this incredibly specific, almost literary observation. She thinks the man looks like Hans Christian Andersen.
That is such a specific detail. I mean, forensic psychologists love this kind of witness testimony because it anchors a face in a tangible reality.
It's not just a generic bad guy face.
No. She describes a low-sloping forehead, a huge nose, large ears, high cheekbones, and this sort of crescent of curly hair at the neck. It's a face that is sensitive but also strange. It stands out.
And the behavior of this Hans Christian Andersen figure is so telling. He is clearly panicked.
Oh, absolutely. He's sweating, he's agitated, he won't make eye contact, he drives away erratically, almost hitting the barrier.
Now, in hindsight, red flags are flying everywhere. But in the moment, it's just a weird guy in the woods.
It's just an odd encounter.
So they keep walking, they reach a clearing, and that is when Reinhardt stops.
And the reaction here, it is so telling of their personalities. Reinhardt sees a bundle at the foot of the trees. He realizes it's a child, a small boy.
And the detail that really sticks with you, the thing that makes it so horribly real, is the clothing.
The t-shirt.
The boy is wearing a t-shirt with the band KISS on it. A KISS t-shirt. It frames him in time and culture immediately. He's just a little kid, Jonas August Lew.
He's almost 8 years old.
But he's naked from the waist down. The implications hit them instantly. Now, this is where the psychological profiles of Reinhardt and Kristine really diverge.
Kristine is in shock. She's physically shaking. Her instinct is empathy, horror, a desperate need to call the police. She wants to cover him, to help.
And Reinhardt.
Reinhardt sees an opportunity.
Ugh, this is one of the most disturbing character beats in the files. He calls the police, yes. But while they're waiting, while his wife is sitting on a log trembling, Reinhardt takes out his mobile phone.
And he takes pictures of the body.
That moment, it just made my skin crawl when I read it. He is standing over a dead child, a scene of absolute horror, and his impulse is to document it, to capture it.
It speaks to a profound detachment. It's pure sensationalism.
Yeah.
He wants to own the moment.
He wants the trophy.
Exactly. And later, when Kristine confronts him, and she's disgusted, rightly so, he just brushes it off. He says, it was just a gut reaction.
But it wasn't a gut reaction of grief or shock.
No, it was a gut reaction of ego. He wants to be the guy who saw it. He wants the scoop. He's probably already thinking about showing it to someone or just having it in his possession.
And for Kristine, this is the final straw. The files mention that this moment acts as a catalyst. She looks at him and realizes she doesn't just dislike his gaming or his bossiness. She is repulsed by his lack of humanity.
The crime hasn't just killed a boy. It has effectively killed their marriage, right there in that clearing.
It creates a permanent wedge. And when the police arrive, Investigator Konrad Sejer and his younger colleague Jacob Skar, they pick up on this dynamic too.
Oh, for sure. Sejer is very observant. He notes the disparity. Reinhardt is puffed up, exaggerating his role, almost acting like he's guiding the police.
And Kristine is just broken by what she's seen.
Utterly broken.
So let's talk about the victim, Jonas August. Because amidst all this adult drama, there is a little boy who didn't come home from his walk.
He was small for his age, skinny, blonde, lived with a single mother, Elfrid Lew.
And the tragedy of Jonas August is compounded by the autopsy findings. The pathologist, a man named Snorreson, discovers something that completely upends the initial theory.
Right, because when you find a child in that state, half naked in the woods, you assume the worst kind of violent assault and murder.
You assume strangulation, blunt force, or stab wounds, something direct.
But that's not what killed him.
No.
Snorreson finds no ligature marks, no broken bones, no internal bleeding. Jonas August died of oxygen deprivation, yes, but it was triggered by a severe asthma attack.
Wait, so the assault, the terror of the situation, it triggered an asthma attack that killed him.
Precisely. And this changes the profile of the offender significantly. It implies that the killer might not have intended to murder him in that specific moment.
He didn't set out to kill.
Maybe not. He might have been holding him, assaulting him, and then the boy started wheezing, gasping for air. The offender likely panicked. He watched the boy die, not by his hands directly, but because of the situation he created.
That's almost more consistent with a disorganized offender, isn't it? Someone who isn't a cold-blooded executioner, but someone who is just overwhelmed by his own deviant urges and then loses control of the outcome.
Exactly. It suggests panic. It aligns perfectly with the behavior Reinhardt and Kristine saw at the barrier, the sweating, the erratic driving. This wasn't a mastermind.
No, this was a pathetic, terrified man who had done something monstrous and didn't know how to handle the result. He didn't bury the body. He didn't hide it well.
He just ran.
The DNA evidence is another frustration here. They recovered DNA, but there's no match in the system. So they have a biological profile, but no name to attach it to.
Which is just maddening for the investigators. And we have to talk about the mother, Elfrid. The police notification scene is just heartbreaking.
It's just total denial. She keeps saying he's only 7 years old, as if his age is a shield that should have protected him.
And she becomes obsessed with one detail. The red shorts.
Red shorts.
Jonas was wearing red Bermuda shorts when he left the house. When the police tell her he was found without them, That is the detail that breaks her. It's the indignity of it.
Oh, I see.
Her little boy lying half naked in the cold. It strips away the abstraction of death and forces her to visualize the violation. She can handle the idea of an accident, but the missing shorts force her to confront the sexual nature of the crime.
And that leads to the funeral scene. The files describe it so vividly. The vicar is trying to offer these platitudes, saying death has arrived in his carriage, trying to make it poetic.
But Elfred isn't having any of it. She screams. She just screams uncontrollably. It shatters the decorum. It's raw, real grief refusing to be tidied up by religion or ceremony.
And guess who's watching this?
Let me guess. Reinhardt Ris.
Of course. He attends the funeral. Not to comfort Alfred, not to pay his respects.
But to watch. He treats it like a spectator sport. It just reinforces that narcissism we saw in the woods. He feels a sense of ownership over the tragedy because he found the body.
It's a grotesque need for attention. Okay, let's pivot to the men hunting the killer. Konrad Sejer and Jacob Skar. They are quite the duo.
They really are. Sejer is the veteran, gray-haired, imposing but gentle. The files say he has this intimidating handshake.
And he doesn't believe in God, but finds peace in church rituals. He loves his dog, a Shar-Pei named Frank Robert.
Sejer is a fascinating figure because of his philosophy. He has this metaphor of a bicycle dynamo.
Tell us about that.
He tells Skar that investigating is like one of those old bike lights. You have to keep pedaling hard to keep the light on. The moment you stop working, the moment you stop pushing, the truth goes dark.
So it's about relentless momentum.
Exactly. You cannot wait for inspiration. You have to generate the light yourself through sheer labor.
And Skar is the younger energy. Curly blonde hair, son of a clergyman. He seems to be the one who wrestles with the moral gray areas.
He definitely is. There's this transcript of a debate they have about the age of consent. It really shows their different worldviews.
He plays devil's advocate, doesn't he?
He does. He asks why the age is 16 in Norway but 15 in Sweden. He's questioning the arbitrary nature of the law versus the complexity of human urges. He's trying to understand the why of deviance. He wonders if biology respects these legal lines we draw in the sand.
But Sejer is immovable on this.
Completely. Sejer takes a stance of total protection of the child. He says, if you put a child on your lap, there must be no ulterior motives. For him, there are no gray areas when it comes to children.
It's black and white.
Totally. The law isn't just a rule. It's a moral absolute to protect the innocent. He shuts down Skar's intellectualizing because, for Sejer, understanding the urge doesn't excuse the act. Not for a second.
That moral clarity probably helps him sleep at night when he's dealing with cases like this.
I think it has to.
Now, procedurally, they're doing good work. They're retracing Jonas's steps. They find a witness, an 86-year-old woman at a farm, who saw Jonas walking with a stick shortly before he disappeared.
And that leads to a crucial discovery. Sejer finds the stick, it was an old shovel handle, by a steep hill and a sharp bend in the road.
Ah, so that marks the likely abduction point.
It creates a geographic profile. The killer didn't snatch him from his front yard. He picked him up on a quiet stretch of road where the boy was vulnerable.
There's also this lead about a white car. Children at the local school start reporting a man in a white car who talks to them, compliments their rucksacks or their shoes.
Which is classic grooming behavior.
Yeah.
Testing the waters.
It's so chilling.
It is. This isn't just a random act of opportunity. The offender was hunting. He was interacting with children, seeing who was approachable, who was trusting. It adds a layer of premeditation to the victim selection, even if the murder itself was panicked.
And this brings us to the most chilling part of the source material. We, the listeners, you and I, we actually get access to the offender's perspective.
Yes, we know who he is, even though the police don't yet. He's living in a rental cottage on a farm called Granos Farm.
This perspective shift is so vital. It completely demythologizes the killer. He isn't some supervillain. He's a man named Wilfred A. Breen.
And he is, for lack of a better word, pathetic.
Utterly pathetic. Let's profile him for a second. He's on benefits, poor hygiene, drives that old white Toyota Carina. He eats cheap food. There's this detail about him mixing jam and milk in a jar because he can't be bothered to cook.
That jam and milk detail is so gross,
Yeah.
but so revealing, isn't it? It shows a kind of regression. He isn't functioning like an adult. He's living like a child or someone who has just given up on the basic structures of civilized life.
And his psychology, what's going on in his head.
He's a man who sees himself as a victim. That is the key. He feels that fate played a mean trick on him by giving him these pedophilic urges.
So he takes no responsibility. He feels cursed.
Exactly. He is terrified of exposure, panic-stricken that the police are closing in. He spends his days watching the news, trembling, feeling sorry for himself.
But he kept a trophy.
Yes, the red Bermuda shorts. He didn't burn them. He hid them in a cornflakes box in his cupboard.
Oh, wow.
And he takes them out to smell them. He uses them to relive the memory. This fetishistic attachment is, well, it's his undoing. It proves that despite his panic, the urge is stronger than his survival instinct. He needs that connection to the crime.
He also has these excruciating interactions with the community. There's an encounter with the farm's matriarch, the 86-year-old woman who saw Jonas.
Right. She asks him if he has a spare radio for the Polish workers on the farm.
A completely innocent request.
But internally, he is screaming. He feels hunted. He describes the old woman as trapping him in seaweed with her slowness. He's paranoid that she can see his guilt, but she's just asking for a radio.
It highlights how invisible these predators can be. To her, he's just the quiet tenant in the cottage. To us, he's a monster hiding in plain sight.
And the police are trying to get inside the mind of this unknown subject, so they consult a convicted offender, Philip Åkesson. Now, this was an unexpected turn in the files.
Åkesson isn't what you'd expect, is he?
No, not at all. He's described as charming, tea-drinking, very open about his past crimes. He's almost like a parody of a gentle eccentric, except he's a convicted pedophile.
And he gives Sejer and Skar a critical insight. He suggests the killer might be a first-timer.
A first-timer? What does he mean by that?
He means someone who has suppressed these urges for a lifetime, maybe through a marriage or just sheer fear, and then something in their life unraveled, a divorce, a job loss, causing a snap. Åkesson argues that the panic and the erratic behavior at the scene point to someone who is new to this, someone who is terrified of what they've done.
Which aligns perfectly with Wilfred's profile.
Perfectly. But while the police are building this profile, the clock is ticking. And then it happens again.
The second disappearance. Edwin Åselid.
And Edwin is a completely different victim profile from Jonas. Jonas was small, athletic, a typical kid.
Edwin is 10 years old and described as morbidly obese. He weighs nearly 90 kilograms, about 200 pounds. He has difficulty walking and breathing.
He's socially isolated, living in a world of food and computer games.
But he does have a few loyal friends. And he has a mother, Tula Åselid. And Tula is, well, she's a complete contrast to Elfrid Lew.
In every way. She's described as beautiful, vain, and completely obsessed with her boyfriend, Ingemar Brenner.
The negligence here is subtle but devastating. On the day Edwin vanishes, Tula is distracted. She is preparing for a date. She's making tacos, putting on perfume.
Her focus is on keeping Ingemar interested, and it turns out Ingemar is a fraudster who cons women, but she doesn't know that yet.
No, and she barely notices that Edwin is delayed returning from the ice cream van.
The ice cream van. That detail just crushes me. Edwin went out to buy a box of chalk ice as they were out, so he bought a blackcurrant lolly instead.
It's such a mundane, childish tragedy. He goes to Gudastranda, the boys' beach, with his friends. But he can't keep up. He gets tired.
And that physical vulnerability makes him the perfect target.
Absolutely. He can't run. He can't fight back. If a car pulls up and offers him a lift because he's out of breath and sweating, he is likely to accept it just to escape the physical discomfort of walking.
But here is the terrifying realization for the police. The MO has changed. Jonas was found within hours.
Edwin is missing.
He wasn't dumped quickly. This implies he's being held somewhere. The killer has evolved. He's gone from a panicked, disorganized offender to someone who is taking a victim to a secondary location.
And that suggests an escalation in confidence or perhaps a different kind of desire. He wants to keep Edwin.
Or maybe because Edwin is so heavy, the offender couldn't easily move him or manage him in the woods, so he took him home.
That's a very real possibility. It's a logistical problem for the killer.
With a second child missing, the community of Huseby just goes into a tailspin. Panic sets in, and when people panic, they start pointing fingers.
The rumor mill becomes a weapon. There's a local man, Joachim Naper, who starts spreading rumors about a teacher at the school, Alex Meyer.
Right. Now, Alex Meyer is gay and lives with a partner, and in this climate of fear, his sexuality is weaponized against him.
Because he's kind to the misfit kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He lets kids like Edwin visit his home.
Exactly. He's actually the only one advocating for Edwin, protecting him from bullying, managing his health at school. But the community twists that kindness into something sinister.
They suspect him of being part of a pedophile ring. It's a classic witch hunt.
And the police have to waste time running down these false leads because the public hysteria demands it.
Which shows how prejudice can actually help the real killer by creating a smokescreen.
Meanwhile, the police are desperate. They canvass every owner of a white car in the district. over 1,000 vehicles.
An impossible task.
They're dragging Lakbana looking for Edwin's body but find nothing. The investigation is grinding to a halt. They are stuck.
They need a break, a real break. And the break comes from the most unlikely and, frankly, the most frustrating source, Reinhardt Ris.
Our hero from the first section. Reinhardt has become obsessed with the case. He's collecting newspaper clippings. He feels important because he found the first body.
He's convinced, absolutely convinced, that he can identify the killer, despite Kristine's doubts. She's just so tired of it all.
And then the chance encounter. It's months later. It's December. Reinhardt and Kristine are at an ICA superstore, just doing their grocery shopping.
And Reinhardt spots a man buying apples.
He grabs Kristine and says, "That's him. That's the Hans Christian Andersen man."
And Kristine is skeptical at first. She just wants to go home. She is so tired of his obsession.
But then she notices something. The man is wearing a worn leather jacket, and crucially, he limps.
The limp, we haven't mentioned the limp yet.
Right. Back in the initial debrief, Kristine had mentioned the suspect at the barrier walked oddly, that he was dragging a leg.
And seeing this man in the supermarket struggling to walk, dragging that leg, it clicks. It validates the whole thing.
It's face plus gait equals identification. So what does Reinhardt do? Does he call the police immediately? No. He goes full vigilante. He forces Kristine to wait in the car. They're going to follow the guy.
And this is just high tension. They identify the car. It is a Toyota Carina.
And Reinhardt realizes his mistake from the woods. From the back, a Carina looks a bit like a Granada. That explains the discrepancy in his original statement and why the police hadn't found him in the Granada registry.
It all starts to line up.
They follow him all the way to Huseby, to a row of letterboxes at a place called Granasveen. They watch him check his mail.
And then Kristine, who has finally been swept up in Reinhardt's crusade, she runs out and checks the name on the box.
Wilfred A. Bryan. That is the name.
They have him. They have the name, the address, the car, the limp, and the face.
They call the police. They report it. And the listeners are left with this incredible tension. The police have the tip, but they're overwhelmed. The arrest hasn't happened yet.
It is a cliffhanger of the highest order.
We're left knowing the killer has been identified by witnesses, but the story ends before the handcuffs go on.
But it gives us hope. The dynamo is working. The light is about to shine on Wilfred.
So when we step back, what does this all mean? We have seen the destruction of two families, the Liu family and the Asalid family.
We've profiled a pathetic, dangerous offender living in plain sight.
And we've seen how a witness, Reinhardt, turned a tragedy into an ego trip, and yet somehow became the key to solving it.
I think it goes back to Sejer's philosophy. You have to keep pedaling. You have to keep the light on. The why matters. Understanding the sequence of events, the asthma attack, the ice cream van, the missed opportunities, is the only way to process the evil.
It's not just about catching the bad guy.
No. It's about understanding the human failures, the distractions, the prejudices, the obsessions that let him operate in the first place.
And here's a final provocative thought for you. The killer, Wilfred, is at this moment probably sitting in his wheelchair, which we learn he uses for comfort and disguise, in his cottage, watching the news about himself, feeling safe because he thinks he's invisible.
But his name is now on a list. And that changes everything.
How long can a quiet man hide when his secrets act like a poison?
Secrets always act like a poison. They rot the vessel from the inside out. Wilfred thinks he's hiding, but he has been seen. And once you're seen, it's only a matter of time.
Next time you're out for a walk in the woods, or maybe just shopping for apples, pay attention to the details. You never know when a Hans Christian Andersen face might be the key to solving a mystery.
Stay curious, stay observant.
And thanks for diving deep with us.